Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today we take a look at the Neo ATX Black Edition. Metallic Gear isn't really a name that is often heard in the case industry, but they are certainly making ripples with some stunning offerings, and today we take a look at the Neo series, and we have here the black version. Metallic Gear is powered by Phanteks, so already has some standing and experience behind them. Before we dive further into the details and specifications of the Neo, we are going to take a few moments to really appreciate the striking aesthetics of the chassis itself. It is an absolutely gorgeous looking case with sleek lines, curves and tempered glass. Featuring outstanding build quality and materials, it carries an incredibly premium status. The panels are made up of aluminium that is sandblasted to give off that ultra clean and modern appearance. The entire front panel is made up of one slab of aluminium with nothing but the Metallic Gear logo lightly etched into the bottom. On the top you get another single panel that wraps around the edges, providing clean curved lines either side. The only thing present here are these two metallic circular buttons in the corner, the smaller being an RGB light toggle switch and the other a power button. We'll pay closer attention to the lighting later on in the video. This curved edge leads straight onto the side panels of the Neo, and the clean aesthetic is followed through here too, with a full-size tempered glass panel that is held in place by 4 thumb screws in each corner. The glass panel is slightly tinted and features a very nice block design etched into and across the bottom of the panel. To the right of the glass you get an I/O panel along the upper third of the chassis. Going from top to bottom you get headphone and microphone jack, reset button and 2 USB 3 ports. Below this you get an air ventilation grille that follows on with a shapely theme of a chassis. This is for air intake at the sides, drawn in by the fans at the front of the Neo. One particular attention to detail on the Neo is the continuity of its theme throughout the entire case, as seen here on the rear side of the Neo. You get an almost mirror image of the front side with more tinted tempered glass with the same block design at the bottom, with ventilation grilles to the left stretching the height of the chassis. Coming to the back of the case you get a pretty standard layout with an I/O panel cut out, room for a 120mm fan which unfortunately is included in the box, 7 expansion slot covers and a power supply mount at the bottom. There is a dust filter that pulls out from the bottom for further protecting your PSU against dust. Now that we've finished admiring the Neo's gorgeous design, let's take a more practical approach and take a look at the inside of a chassis. Removing the panel is super easy by unscrewing the 4 thumb screws and simply pulling it away. Inside you are presented with a spacious area that is exaggerated by this full-length PSU shroud that almost separates the case into 2 sections. There is support for motherboards up to ATX, and there is room for air coolers as tall as 170mm, meaning most of the larger coolers will fit in. Space for up to 360mm graphics card too means even the biggest cards will fit comfortably. Metallic Gear have included 2 120mm fans that sit proud mounted in the middle of the front of this panel. There is space for 2 140mm fans here if you wish to go bigger, and there is even support for up to a 240 or 280mm radiator. There are no RGB fans to be found here, as you simply wouldn't see them due to the front aluminium panel. The 7 expansion slot covers actually feature thumb screws to remove, something that would definitely save time when building, especially useful if you switch out your hardware often for review purposes. Above these you get space for a 120mm fan or a 120mm single radiator also. Moving to the rear side of a Neo, we are presented with this glass panel, and once again removing is as simple as unscrewing these 4 thumb screws and pulling away. What we are left with is a very clean looking panel that houses a party trick which we will touch upon very shortly. Paying attention to the middle you see 2 SSD trays that are mounted in place via screws with a washer to hold in place. You don't even have to take the entire screw out either, as you can simply slide it up and slide away through the larger holes here. The trays are relatively simple yet functional, and you just screw your drive into position with these 4 holes seen here and then slide it back on the panel. There is also an extra space to the left to mount a further tray if needed, and these are the same trays sold by Phanteks. Moving down you get the PSU shroud with a decent amount of space available for power supplies up to 195mm in length. Next to this you can see the hard drive caddy, but you will notice how it's not accessible from either side, which brings us to the front panel once again. To remove this entire panel it's as easy as lifting it up from the bottom and then pulling it away. With it off you can now see the space that we can access for hard drive trays. There are 2 trays available that are plastic and come out by compressing the handles here and pulling away. Each tray can support both 2.5 or 3.5 inch drives. With the front panel removed you can also now access the front fans for cleaning and maintenance. Inside the hard drive caddy you get a box that houses items such as screws, thumb screws, zip ties and also a user manual too. Move back to the rear side and you are presented with a thumb screw here. Undo this and you are then able to open a door for a cable management compartment that is ideal for storing your cables in. There is ample space within and even a velcro tie strap included alongside plenty of zip tie lock points too. This is a fantastic addition to the Neo and will come in very useful for continuing on with the overall clean simple lines of the chassis. The Neo does feature LED RGB lighting too that can be seen on the bottom of the chassis underneath the front legs, as seen here to create a warm glow underneath the case, ideal for mood lighting, and it is still subtle enough to continue the simplistic, clean aesthetic of the Neo. The colours can be changed by pressing the RGB switch button at the top of the case. You can then cycle through 10 different colours and 3 different modes as demonstrated here. Turning the Neo onto its back, we can see the LED lighting is actually produced by this tiny single LED module, but for the size produces a very impressive amount of light. What's more is that you can add additional LED strips or fans to the mix with the included pass-through and LED connections. Controlling all of them with the light button on top does rely on only using Metallic Gear or Phanteks lighting products only. To showcase this synchronization, we were also sent over Metallic Gear's own RGB fan in the form of a Skiron RGB 120. The Skiron comes in a relatively simple grey box with branding at the top and a viewing window in the centre. On the rear you get a little bit more information about the fan itself and what's included, and also its sync compatibility across the bottom. The Skiron is compatible with Gigabyte, Asus, MSI and ASRock's RGB sync suites too. Opening the box you get a pad with 8 rubber mounting pads, a bag with 4 mounting screws, the cables and of course the fan itself. The Skiron is an attractive fan that is frosted white that helps to distribute the light across it. The housing itself unfortunately looks very primitive and basic. I feel like a little more attention to the aesthetics and build quality of this could be a good thing. But the main feature of this fan is the performance and the RGB lighting, so we can overlook this for now. The fan features 9 blades for high airflow with a rifle bearing for silent operation, even at 15,000 RPM. It is a PWM fan, meaning the speed can be controlled by the user to create an optimised fan curve. On the corners you get the usual mounting holes and it comes with a pad with 4 rubber washers that can be put into place on each mount to deliver extra protection from vibration from the fan. You get 2 cables with a Skiron, one being the PWM fan controller header and also a daisy chain RGB cable for powering the lighting modes of a fan and to also add additional fans or light strips too. Once you have connected the fan up and have it running, you can see it looks visually stunning. Those 6 LED units provide an effective light show that is evenly distributed across the blades. The Skiron fans are almost completely silent, which is a big bonus too for a high airflow fan. The lighting modes, as you can see here, sync perfectly with the LED light at the bottom of the Neo chassis and can be controlled by the same switch to cycle through the same 10 colours and 3 different modes to give off a really nice finish. Despite this being a relatively long review with 2 different items, it is safe to say that we have been left very impressed by what we have in front of us by Metallic Gear. Those Phanteks roots are certainly present with the build quality and attention to detail of the Neo chassis. The gorgeous sleek curvature of the edges mixed with dual tempered glass panels and aluminium design make the Neo in my opinion one of the nicest looking cases on the market. It does away with the flashy, sometimes over-engineered RGB obsessed offerings and instead opts for a look that is clean, contemporary and classy. Air circulation is naturally going to be compromised slightly due to the large aluminium panels, but it still delivers a decent amount of airflow nonetheless. The extra attention to detail shown in areas that often get overlooked such as the thumb screw expansion slot covers, full-size PSU cover, cable compartment with a door, side-mounted drive trays and easily removable panels are what really give it that premium feel. The biggest bonus to all of this is that the Neo only costs £89.90 at the time of this recording, making it a real no-brainer. When it comes to the Skiron RGB fan however, it is a slightly different story and we were left not so impressed with this. Whilst it does offer super silent operation, high speeds and impressive airflow and attractive lighting and sync modes, it still feels a little bit cheap when it comes to the fan housing and unfortunately it does let the whole experience down slightly. However, this certainly isn't a dig at the overall design and thoughts of a Skiron. It is a solid offering in the RGB fan market with some impressive functions and impressive performance, but it is certainly a fan that should be showcased for its RGB lighting aesthetics and its airflow performance over the complete build quality. With this in mind, for both the Neo and the Skiron, it's time to turn our attention to our final thoughts. The Skiron RGB fan is a solid offering with plenty of functionality. The light shows are fantastic and evenly lit with lots of synchronization options. The airflow is impressive with super silent operation too. If the outer casing had been that little bit more well built or designed, then it would have been a serious contender in the market for an all-round package. With this, I can award the Skiron our Gadget Joe Silver Award, and it would certainly be worth consideration if you're in the market for a no-nonsense, high-performance RGB fan. The real star of the show, of course, is the Neo chassis. Quite easily one of my favourite chassis to date. It sits with pride in my top 3, and being packed with innovative features, sleek lines, minimalistic appearance, premium build quality and inexpensive price tag, it has been awarded our top Gadget Joe Platinum 5-star award. It really is an impressive case and is certainly a very promising start for a relatively new company that is sure to send shockwaves in the industry if their next lineup is anything like this. At the time of recording, only the Neo is available to buy, and we will leave a link in the description down below to where you can get your hands on your very own. The Skiron is not yet available to buy, but be sure to check back shortly as we will add a link when it is available. And that wraps it up for today's video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below as to what you think, and while you're there, hit that ever elusive subscribe button so we can grow to provide more content like this for you, and we will see you in the next one.